Okay, so welcome back. So I can see Shomoyola Shile Ikeoluwa. All right. So let's see if others can join. If others can join, we continue. Else, we will stop because of the network that fluctuated that caused a break in the first stream. So I had to restart the streaming so that we can continue. But if others cannot join us again, then we will end it here. I think you can hear me, Olashile. All right. Okay. All right. I can see that you guys are back. I can see that 8 people have joined now. So continue. We spend maybe 10 or more minutes or maximum 15, then we will stop. I think it's okay like that. If you agree, let me see you type yes. All right. If you agree, just type yes. Okay, that's fine. You can see Aziza saying yes. Shomoyi Olashile Ikeoluwa say yes. Rebecca Boluwatife yes. Adegbite Elizabeth yes. Adegbite Elizabeth yes. Ogundipo Ibrahim yes. That's fine. So we continue from where we stopped in the first live stream. We discussed about the cables and connectors. We are discussing about SCSI and IDE cables. These are the other types of cables used in computers. The IDE cables are usually used in the older uh, computers and no more in use now. Now we now use SATA cable, eSATA, Molex, and so on and so forth. But this SATA cable, eSATA, Molex, and so on and so forth. But these are also other cables that are also used for computer connection. Then we want to talk about monitor characteristics. There are a few things that we use to characterize the functionality of a computer. For instance, we talk about the size, the quality, the clarity, the brightness, and more. Now, for computer monitors, we can describe the screen by the screen size. The screen size is actually the diagonal measurement of the screen, not the length or the breadth, but the diagonal from one corner to the diagonal of the other corner. When you measure that, whatever you get in inches is regarded as the size of the computer, so of the monitor. So you can hear such a sizes at 17-inch, 21-inch, so on and so forth. So these are the size, the screen size of the computer. Just like your television at home, you can have 21-inch, rates the size of the computer monitor. Then we talk about resolution. Resolution is the number of horizontal and vertical pixels that the computer can display. For instance, we have 1920 by 1080. That's a type of screen resolution. And that is regarded as a 1080p. I will post that one in chat now. I'll post that one in chat. It's regarded as 1080. That is a 1920 by 1080. It's regarded as 1080p. That is one screen resolution. All right. And this means it has 1020 horizontal pixels and then 1880 vertical pixels. Let me put that one also in charts so that you can see what I mean. So that's the resolution, 1920 by horizontal. This is a 1080p. Some of you, when you download videos, probably on YouTube, you see something written like a 360, 480, 720, 1080. So they are talking about the pixel rating, the quality of the number of pixels in that video that can be shown, that can be displayed. So that is how we rate the monitor. Another way to rate the monitor. Then we also talk about the resolution we are talking about also gives us the knowledge of how much information that can be displayed on the screen, how much clear the screen will become. The resolution can also determine that. We have the native resolution, which is identifies the best monitor resolution for specific monitor, and that's the term native mode also describes when the image sent to the monitor by the video adapter card matches the native resolution of the monitor. That is native mode. Then we have connectivity. Can also classify monitors by their connectivity. For instance, older monitors use VGA or DVI, while newer monitors support HDMI, and then display ports. So we can use that one also to distinguish between monitors. Older monitors use VGA and DVI, whereas newer monitors use HDMI and then display ports. Now, newer monitors, you see HDMI ports with them, whereas older monitors, what you see there is VGA ports or DVI ports. That's another way to classify monitors. Then we talk about pixel of the monitors. We talk about dot pitch. We talk about the brightness of the screen. We talk about the contrast ratio. We talk about aspect ratio, refresh rate, response time, the monitor. Classify monitor by these different other terms, right? Then standards of the monitor, we have the display standards of monitors. We have the CGA, that is color graphics adapter, and that is a 320 by 220. We have the video graphics array, 640 to 480 resolution. So I will put this one in the chart. We have the SVGA. So you can see that one in the chart. I will put them in the chart so that you can read them out yourself. What I'm mentioning now. That is the first set. Another set is here. Okay. That's the second set. And then the last one. We have CGA. We have VGA. We have SVGA. We have HD, high definition. And then we have a full HD. And then a quad, HD. Quad HD, that is quad high definition. Now, multiple monitors. Multiple monitors can be used with a system when the work requires that, and this requires a special hardware and software. A single computer system can actually use double monitors at the same time. When you want to do this, you will require uh, uh, the KVM switch to achieve that, KVM switch. Then you need to enable your computer to support multiple monitors, because some of many of these systems have inbuilt, capacity to support multiple monitors. But that has to be enabled. You have to go into the system and enable the capacity monitors. But that has to be enabled. You have to go into the system and enable the capacity to monitors. Then you will need the required cables such as the KVM switch and the cables to connect the different monitors to the same computer. Now we want to talk about computer configuration. Should we stop here or continue, gentlemen and ladies? Want us to continue, please? Let me hear in comments in the chat box. say something, or if you want us to stop here, let me know. Of course, we are almost finishing this chapter. We have gone far. It remains small to finish it. So I don't want to tax you too much. If you want us to continue, let me know. Or if you want us to stop here, you can just let me know. Let me ask you. Okay, Shumoye Olashile said we can continue. That's fine. That's fine. So, all right, Adepisi Adeola. All right, can continue. Okay. So we have seen two people that says yes, we should continue. All right, let's talk about motherboard upgrade. We may need to upgrade the motherboard of a computer system, okay, for various reasons. One, the user, the owner of the computer may need to use computer for more functions, and then the old motherboard may not be compatible with new hardware or probably software that is going to be installed. So the computer the computer uh, motherboard in that situation will need to be upgraded. And also some software packages that require new hardware. You want to install new software and then the motherboard will not be compatible with that. So you need to upgrade your motherboard. And then when you install new, motherboard, it will also enhance the performance of your system. That may be another reason why you want to upgrade the motherboard. Now, when you are going to upgrade or replace the motherboard, you must consider some important factors, such as the CPU. If you are not going to upgrade the CPU, then the new motherboard must be compatible with the old CPU. Then you talk about heatsink and fan assembly. They must be compatible. Then the RAM must be compatible. Your old RAM must be compatible with the motherboard. Else, you need to actually upgrade the RAM also. Then the form factor must be the same so that the new motherboard will fit into the case, into your computer case. All right. So we need to put this into mind when upgrading a motherboard. Now, there are steps to follow to upgrade the motherboard. Okay, you need to check before you remove the motherboard. You need to record how the power supply, case fan, LEDs, how they attach to the old motherboard. You must take note of that. Then, after taking note of all the cables, the way they attach to the motherboard, you can disconnect the cables from the old motherboard. Then the next step will be to disconnect and remove the expansion cards from the case. Yes, the expansion card that are screwed to the body of the case, you need to remove them. Then the next step, that's step number 4, will be to record the old motherboard, the way it is secured to the case, the way they screw it, the way they position it, the way they screw it. Then we need to remove the screws from the motherboard, unscrew it. You can have 3, 4, sometimes 5 screws. Remove the screws. Step 6, then you must identify all the connectors, you know, where all the connectors are, such as power, SATA, fan connector, USB, audio, front panel connector, and any other on the motherboard. Yes, then point 7, step 7, the old I/O shield, will be replaced with new I/O shield. Then step 8, insert and secure the motherboard into the case, the new motherboard. Now put it into the case. Then secure it with screws, screw them into place. Then now begin to connect the power supply, the case fan, the case LED, front panel, and any other required cables back to where they were in the old motherboard. Now after the new motherboard is in place and all the cables have been connected, then the expansion cards should be secured to the case again by screwing them properly, you know, installing them into the motherboard, into the expansion slots, and then screw them to the case where they are supposed to be. Then you carry out a thorough check again on the on the motherboard that all the cables are in their right positions. before this computer can now be powered. Then CPU upgrade. You can also upgrade the CPU. Okay, you can upgrade the CPU. Okay, and one way to do this, one way to increase the power of a computer is to upgrade the CPU. If you have older CPU and then you can get a newer CPU, you expect that the newer CPU will perform better than the older CPU. But the new CPU may require new heatsink and fan assembly. The older one may not be compatible with the new CPU. And then this new CPU must be able to fit into the CPU socket on your motherboard in order to be able to serve. Otherwise, you'll not be able to install that CPU. It must have the same you know uh, architecture, whether it's pin grid array or line grid array or whatever. It must be compatible with the CPU socket. Then it must also be adequate to remove heat. The heat sink and fan should be adequate to remove heat faster from the CPU. If necessary, you may need to install additional case fans. Now, when the CPU is going to be installed, before the heatsink is installed on top, there must be application of what we call thermal paste. Thermal paste. The thermal paste will be applied like something like a toothpaste applied on top of the surface of the CPU before the heatsink is now seated firmly on top of that, and then the heatsink and fan together are screwed to the motherboard. All right. We can also upgrade the storage devices. The storage devices such as the hard drive can upgrade it to higher capacity. And then when we want to upgrade, there may be reasons why we want to do that. For instance, we may want to increase the storage space on the computer, or perhaps the hard drive speed. We want to increase the speed. That may require that we upgrade the hard drive. Or perhaps we want to install another operating system, a second operating system. We may need to upgrade the hard drive. We can also store the system, swap file, provide fault tolerance, back up the original hard drive. Those are the things needed. Then, after choosing the appropriate hard drive, we need to take following steps. Drive in an empty drive bay and tighten the screws to secure the hard drive in position. Then connect the hard drive to motherboard using the correct cables. Then attach the power cable to the drive. And that's how we can actually install the new hard drive. Then peripheral upgrades. We can upgrade peripheral components such as the mouse and keyboard. For instance, if you are using wired keyboard before, you can change it to Bluetooth connected keyboard. You can use a Bluetooth connected keyboard to the system, or mouse. Then maybe we also want to upgrade the system, the peripheral component, because of somebody that is you know uh, somebody that is probably that is not that is disabled. Maybe you want to help somebody that is disabled so that they can actually use the computer, effectively or conveniently. We may need to upgrade some of the peripheral components. We can also upgrade the power supply. Power supply can be upgraded. Power supply units must be upgraded, and then we have to bear in mind also that the structure, the form factor must be the same before you can replace the whole power supply unit. All right. Now, it may be necessary sometimes when the power supply is failing. Sometimes when you are using the computer system, then the power goes off suddenly. Probably the power supply needs to be changed. That may be reason to upgrade the power supply unit. All right. Then, if you need to upgrade the system power supply unit, you may need to search the internet for some, help to determine whether you really need to upgrade the power supply or not. You can search something on the internet for something like power supply wattage calculator to know the size that you need to actually choose. Power supply wattage calculator. All right. Now, we want to talk about protecting the environment. That will be the last segment in our class today. Protecting the environment. We want to talk about component parts of the computer system that are disposable, such as the battery, aerosol can, toner kits, cartridges, developers, chemical solvents, cell phones and tablets, or perhaps their batteries. These are the disposable items of our computer system. Now, we do not want to dispose these parts anyhow. We want to follow standard way of disposal. That is, proper way of disposal is expected to be followed, because some of these components contain hazardous, chemicals that can affect the environment. All right, hazardous chemicals. Some of them contain hazardous chemicals, so they need to be disposed in the globally acceptable way. Now, we need to follow regulations that govern how to dispose some specific items. And there are organizations, government organizations and bodies that are been designated to collect some of these parts. So we can, who is to collect what? For instance, if your system or your cell phone battery is bad, don't just fling it into the fire outside and burn it with refuse. There are organizations that are supposed to collect this. All right, and then the violation of these guidelines may result into some fines or some legal battles. Someone can get arrested or jailed if you violate some of these laws. So we have to be careful. So there are regulations on how to dispose these computer parts, batteries, toners, chemical solvents like aerosols, cell phones and tablets and so on. There are standard ways by which we can dispose them. Then we have what we call safety data sheets, SDS. Before, this safety data sheet is known as material safety and data sheet. Material safety and data sheet. This is the document that is a fact sheet that summarizes information about material identification on a computer and some other components, that tells us which component is hazardous, that, or which parts of the system contain hazardous ingredients that can affect our personal health, that can cause fire hazards, or that we need a first aid requirements. So we can consult the SDS, the safety data sheets. And then it can also tell us about chemical reactivity and incompatibility of some chemicals. We can get information about that also. It also help us to learn the protective measures and safe handling of these materials and storage of materials and spill, leak and disposal procedures. In fact, they consult the manufacturer's SDS in the United States, and in the United States that requires OSHA when the material is transferred to a new owner. And also, if you study the SDS, you'll be able to know how to dispose potentially hazardous materials in the safest manner. So that is SDS. To protect the environment, you need to consult SDS when you want to dispose some, parts of the computer system. And that is how we come to the end. My network has disconnected again. Okay. All right, gentlemen. So we want to stop here. The network is now stable. Uh, the network is now stable. So I don't know whether we have any question. Any question now before we go? You can ask a question in chat. Ask a question in chat. Okay, waiting for your question, one or two questions before we round it off. Okay, we want to stop here. We want to stop here for today. We have tried. The only thing is that it's not encouraging the number of join. We have less than 20 join. That's not encouraging. We have two departments of more than 250 students. We have close to 300 students or more. So I expect to see a large number of people joining the live lecture. Well, this is the first time. In the future, okay, it's going to be to get better. It's going to get better. All right. So, gentlemen and ladies, if there is no question, we can actually end it now. Can we end it here now? If you want us to end it, say hi into the chat. Okay. Akindele Moonstone said we should stop here for today. That's fine. That's fine. Okay. Abdul Salam, that's fine. I think we tell Elizabeth, that's fine. All right. We can end it now. That's fine. Olashile Ikelua. All right. I hope you enjoyed the class. So subsequently, we are going to fix another class, and that may be after the school goes on break next week. So we can continue having evening classes like this. Now, maybe later on, we might maybe spend 30 minutes, 45 minutes or thereabouts. That's all. Thank you for joining the class. So, bye bye. I'm going to end it now.